Okay, so it's Enigma Hood. And I'm back after about a year now. So there's a lot going on in the world right now, a lot going on in the news. Unfortunately, I'm not here to talk about those things. I'm here to talk about harassment, threats being made by a individual named Adam Chebot Goldman, and I'm gonna post a link to his new channel and also to his verification video where he confirms that his name is Adam Chebot Goldman. Okay? So there's a lot to kind of address here, and it's gonna need some backstory in order to really understand the full context of what's going on and why this is still happening and what we can do about it. So I'll briefly go through some of the backstory. So Adam Chebot Goldman has been harassing me since at least around 2012. So we're talking about 8 years. That sounds absurdly long, and it is. So I have to kind of jump ahead. Why is he harassing me? So I made some videos criticizing 3D Realms and Duke Nukem Forever a long time ago, like about a decade ago, probably more than that. And he got angry over those kinds of videos, and so he has been hell bent against me for some deluded, misguided reason. Uh, I don't fully understand it, but that's not really important. What's important is everything that he has done in this kind of warpath kind of attitude and behavior that he's been doing. So, um, he initially he did a lot of things, and we're gonna go through like kind of bullet points here before we get into some of the new stuff. So I he's been threatening me, right? So he's been writing threats and harassing me, and I took him to court. And I filed a complaint at the police station uh, that is in my jurisdiction, and I took him to court, and he was at court. Okay, so that's one thing. From what I understand, this guy was someone like okay. So there are a couple of key players here. So there's Adam Chebot Goldman, there's me, and then there's also this third person. His name was Cedric Lutz, and I say was because he passed away. He passed away about a year ago, and he was very much involved with this guy. And they were fighting a lot. I wanted nothing to do with that stuff. Um, so what happened with them was, I believe Cedric uh, called the FBI on him, and so the FBI went to his house for harassment and threats. I don't know much about it, but I actually talked to him about it recently, just today. We'll get into that. So, yeah, so I did call the cops on him, and I actually did press charges. He had to go to court, and when he was at court, he was crying. His father was there. He was sobbing. He was kind of hiding in a corner. And he actually tried to record me with his cell phone camera. Like he just kind of like at a certain point he tucked it underneath his arm and he was pointing his cell phone camera right at me. And I said out loud to everyone in the hallway, that guy is recording me with his cell phone camera. He has me right on his camera. He's pointing right at me. The bailiff um, scolded Adam Chebot Goldman, told him to stop, to put his phone away. Okay. Um, so, long story short, he got a lawyer, and he got the charges dismissed. Unfortunately, it would. I talked to the prosecutor, and she wasn't very helpful in pressing charges and getting the charges to stick. From what I understand, I think his father's a lawyer, but they got a lawyer. Um, anyway, so why am I talking about all this stuff? Um, just to kind of give like a backstory. Like this guy has been harassing me for years, to the point of where I actually had to press charges. Right? I had to go to court and press charges against this guy. I did more than that. I actually reported him to the FBI as well. So there were two instances. I think Cedric reported him to the FBI in the past, and then I reported him to the FBI after that. Um, Unfortunately, they did very little. And that has emboldened this guy to constantly harass me and send me threats. It's sickening that this continues to happen, that nothing has been done about this guy, and that's why he feels emboldened to keep doing it for 8 years. Okay, so right now you're looking at a screenshot. So he sent this stuff to me, I think, in the beginning of 2019, I want to say, somewhere around there. Um, and I'm going to read to you all these threats. So he sent this to me on Twitch, which he was harassing me on Twitch for years. Um, and so I sent this stuff to the FBI, and they, long story short, they didn't really do anything about it. They didn't. None of it was actionable, even though the threats are there. So let's kind of just go through it right now. Right. So this is still in the past, right? We're not talking about what just happened today. Kind of sucks that a large number of very angry I mean vigilante warriors on the dark web know that a blah blah blah, he's slandering me based upon the lies that SS Sniper Wolf said. So that's another thing. Not going to get into that right now. We're focusing on this. Um, they also don't like that he's brown and anti-white. Uh, that's a complete lie. Hey, I'm not a massive racist, let alone a racist of any quantity, but I can't soothe or control the prejudices in others' hearts. Also, a lot of American citizens in the era aren't too happy that this 35-year-old minority. Okay, whatever. So what is he saying here? So he's saying that he uh, essentially doxed me. So I blacked out some sensitive information. Um, Later on, some sensitive information is going to get put out there. There's nothing I can really do about it. Um, but I blocked out some of the stuff where I live and home address and stuff like that. So he's been doxing me all over the place, and he apparently went on the dark web and doxed me to what he calls vigilante warriors to try and cause me harm, to cause me harm and cause my family harm. Okay, so that's that screenshot. Okay, let's bring up another one. Okay. So this is going to be kind of disorganized. Just telling you right now. Whoops. Okay, that's okay. Yeah, this is kind of disorganized. Just bear with me. Actually, I know a better way of doing it, but oh well. Okay. So, again, this was about 1 year ago. Reem, your cowardly ass could delete it, uh, but could you be a bigger hypocrite? I don't know what he's saying there. Is he saying that someone from the dark web is going to ream my ass? I'd take a page from your book and tell you that I'll shame you until I am in my coffin, but in all likelihood, it'll be until you are in yours. So he's saying that he is going to harass me until I'm dead, or until he's dead. Not breaking any laws, just telling some very motivated and excitable individuals the real truth about Enigma Hood, aka Mr. Sri Lankan Mon. And then he doxes me again. Okay. Let's change the image. Okay, there we go. That's a better way of doing it. Then he doxes me again. Here they come. I've come to learn exactly how fucking useful the dark, not being racist with that term in case you feel like making another public accusation, web can be. You will rot in hell, bitch. Go scream to the police and FBI. Even if I did something illegal, they'd completely brush you off. That's what happens when a sex offender cries wolf. Kind of like Cedric and his false vindictive reports, but I won't take advantage of that and still act within the. So, what is he saying here? Um, he's saying that if you go to the police or the FBI about the threats that I'm making to you, they're not going to do anything. And he's right. I did report him to the police and the FBI, as I talked about before. The first time I called the police on him a couple of times. In fact, in this particular situation, I did call the local police again. Um, and he's right. They were pretty much dismissive. They treated it as if it wasn't worth their time, that they didn't care about it, um, that that they had better things to do. So yeah, they didn't care. So like for the longest time, so this happened a year ago. So for the longest time, I just dealt with it, right? There wasn't anything I could do. Well, now I've had enough. Um, if the courts of law, if the police, if the FBI isn't going to do anything about this guy, then I have to make a video about this guy and expose him for the monster that he is. Okay, we still got more. Boundaries of the law. I have no need to lie about two terrorists regardless of their color. Remember, Cedric is white. One of them a sex offender and another demented pedophile anarchist who rapes animals because he literally believes he is one and was in his previous life, which he claims to have memories of. I have no idea what the hell this guy's talking about. Like you, Cedric, is a fervent believer in karma. Ironically enough, but I surmise that both of you will soon come to challenge that ideology. After all, both of you are good. Let's see, go to the next one. Both of you are good and innocent men. Till there, you're one fucked sex offender. Okay. Um. So he's saying that Cedric, the guy who died last year, um, I guess is into bestiality. I don't know that much about him. I know he is a furry. That's all I'm gonna say. Um, they're not all furries. In fact, the bestiality aspect of furry people is a very small minority and is in no way representative of those kinds of people. Okay. So he's basically just being a bigot. It's like it's no different than generalizing all homosexuals or all black people or all women a particular way. Cedric was a furry. That's it. He never hurt anyone, as far as I know. Like I said, I don't really know the guy that much. So, um, so let's recap a little bit. So I sent this to the FBI. I sent this to the local police. The FBI said he'll take a look at it. The FBI guy said he'll take a look at it. And I never heard back from him. The local police I called, they really were unhelpful. Um, like I said, there was an attitude, a tone that it really wasn't worth their time. Even though this guy's been harassing me for almost a decade now, right? Threats, saying he doxed me, put stuff up about me on the dark web, trying to instigate harm towards me. I don't know what more evidence you need. So, really, nothing much happened with this. And I decided, so that happened in like January of 2019, right? So Cedric Lutz unfortunately died in June of 2019, I believe. Um, I need some water. Like I said, this is disorganized, so just bear with me. But we'll get to the substance. We'll get to like the recent stuff. Um, so uh, yeah, around June is when Cedric died. So, like I said, let's talk a little bit about what they were going through. So, like Cedric and what his relationship to me was. So, Cedric was like a fan of mine. He was a follower, one of my subscribers, and he came to my streams and stuff like that. So he believed in the things I said. He was a supporter of the things I said. We talked a lot about animal rights. He was a very strong believer in animal rights. He cared a lot about the welfare of animals. Um, so he knew that Adam Chebot Goldman was harassing me for 4 years, and he white knighted for me. He defended me. He defended my good name. Um, Unfortunately, it got him involved in a lot of problems with this guy. So they were fighting a lot. And like I said, I don't know the true extent to how deep that goes. I know that Cedric called the FBI on him at some point and they went to his house. I don't really know too much about it, but I actually asked Adam Chebot Goldman about it later. Um, in fact, we talk about Cedric's death uh, just today. So before we get into that, though, so Cedric died in June, and it was very sad. But I didn't really know all the details about what exactly happened to him. I was told by his family that it was an aneurysm, but I don't really know, right? Because what was Adam Chebot's involvement in his death? So I asked him about it. I talked to him about it. But at the time, I really had enough with this guy harassing me constantly, sending threats, and around a few months after that, I decided to disable my Twitch channel because in large part due to him, not exclusively because of him, but in a good amount had to do with him. He would constantly make Twitch accounts using my real name, um, and and just come to my Twitch channel and just harass me. Or he would follow me and then my real name, which I never gave permission to give out, would be on the Twitch channel's followers. Um, you know, my real name is my business. It's not I'm ashamed of it. It's not that I'm trying to hide it. It's just that is my choice, right? And you're taking away my choice to keep it private. That's my right. And by this guy doxing me, he's taking away my rights by making accounts on Twitch and spamming "you're a sex offender." Uh, even though I literally took SS Sniper Wolf to court and filed a lawsuit against her because she lied about me. Okay, he doesn't care about the truth. He's willing to say anything slanderous or scurrilous to make me look bad. The truth is irrelevant to this guy, which you can already see um, just how deranged this guy is. So this video is getting to be like about 18 minutes and 36 seconds. So, all right. So I'm wondering whether or not I should split this up into two videos right now. Like I said, I'm just kind of talking off the top of my head. Um, you know, Instead of making this video super duper long, um, I think I'll end it here because I think, I made my point even with just these clips. Although I have plenty of evidence. Maybe depending on how people react, if people want to see just how deep this rabbit hole goes and what this guy has said to me recently. So, um, the reason why I even made this video is because this guy, this guy who's been sending threats to me and harassing me, contacted me on Twitter again, with again using my real name to try and shock me. And this time I wasn't having any of it. Okay, I had enough. It's June of 2020. There is so much unrest in this country right now, and he decided to make this all about him. Okay, and essentially what I found out is that he's actually trying to extort me for money. He is trying to harass me and use that as an extortion for himself, trying to extort me to give him money. Why is he doing this? Well, apparently, from our conversation, which I have screenshots of all of it, um, he was kicked out by his family. Like his family cut all ties with him, so he's completely on his own. Um, he Now you gotta also think about the context. COVID-19 is raging, right? So he's on lockdown. So he probably doesn't have a job. So he has no money. He's on his own. His parents cut off all ties to him. Why did they cut off all ties to him? So that's another thing I can get into later on, when if we ever decide to get into like some of the screenshots that were on Twitter. Um, they cut him off because they finally became wise to his harassive, abusive activities online, and they wanted him to stop. And how do I know this? Because he said it. He's a very dumb guy. I asked him questions. I had no problem just conversing with him and having a totally normal conversation. At this point, I was just like, I don't care. I'll talk to you. You want this so badly from me? I'll talk to you. And he told me, like his father cut him off. So he is out on his own. He has no money. He has no job. He's just a loser. And so his one desperate attempt to eke out any existence is to try extort me for money under threat of harassment. That is what he's trying to do. So, like I said, this rabbit hole goes much, much deeper. There's so many screenshots of some of the stuff that he did, um, you know, and stuff that we discussed later on about the details of how he was harassing Cedric, um, and how he was harassing their family. Okay, so let me know whether or not you actually want to see some of that, and we can see exactly the full extent to how depraved and deranged this guy is, because there is something wrong with him. Okay, to harass me for this long after like almost 10 years, there is something sick and wrong with this guy, and his parents knew it, and that's why they cut him off. He has no one now except me. That's why he was harassing me. Anyway, I guess that's a good place to stop for now. We'll see how this goes. Guys, do me a favor. I'm going to post a link to his channel. You guys got to report his channel and get it taken down. Okay. He's been going, and by the way, he's been going all over the internet, making fake accounts using my real name, or using Enigma Hood, and lying about me, slandering me, like trying to like admit to bad things to make me look bad. Like he's been going all over the internet doing that. And I've been ignoring it up until this point, and I had enough. This guy needs, there needs to be consequences. If there are no consequences, nothing will ever get done. All right, that's it. See ya.